I'm now going to call upon the Director of Financial Remarks. Welcome, Maarten.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, High Commissioner Malawi, Governor of the Central Bank, and with that, all protocol observed. I don't know why fate decided that I have to make the closing remarks. It might be my grey hair. But at any rate, most of you probably expected a beautiful blonde woman called Susan. And that might be one of the reasons why you're still here, but I have to disappoint you. There is no beautiful blonde woman called Susan. It's me and it's Maarten. Closing remarks, it shall be. But before I do so, before I launch into my sort of prepared closing remarks, based on what we've heard here this morning, I would like to take two different angles to start with. And the first one is to make sure that everybody is still awake. Let's do a little bit of math. Because I think we heard so much in terms of statistics and in terms of numbers. But now let's make it real. Can anyone answer me how many people does Kenya add to its population every year? 1 million. Now, I'm a father of 3, and I do remember that little babies like to drink milk. And 1 liter of milk per day, every single day of the year, would not be unreasonable, I think. So that would make 365 days times 1 liter times 1 million new babies is 365 million liters. Now you think I'm very smart and doing this by hand, but I prepared it actually. Now I'm not an agronomist, but I do very well remember that the average output of a cow is actually not that high in Kenya. Yeah? Many farmers do not even yield more than 6 liters a day, whereas we should go for 20. But for ease of calculation, if we would say that a cow yields 2,000 liters, and we need 365 million liters just to feed the babies that are going to be born over the next 12 months, and you divide those two numbers, that means we need 182,000 dairy cows extra for the population that's going to be born over the next 365 days. And I've also been informed that a good dairy cow could easily cost $1,000. So tell me where I make a mistake, but if I do my math, if we need 182,000 cows and they cost $1,000 each, then in this one single value chain called dairy, the annual demand hitting us over the next 12 months is $182 million. And over the next 3 years, it's $500 million. If I go back to our good friends from USAID who have mapped, I think, 27 different value chains in the agricultural sort of industry in Kenya, and we've only outlined one single value chain, and that already needs $180 million. The demand for finance is absolutely staggering. It's off the scale. Now, and that brings me to my second sort of remark. When I was driving in this morning, car radio on, was this news blip from Richard Branson, who says, in 5 years' time, we're going to have a man walking on Mars. Ladies and gentlemen, let it sink in. A man walking on Mars in 5 years' time. Fantastic. But somehow we haven't figured out yet how to finance smallholder farmers, and we haven't figured out how to finance SMEs. What is wrong in this world? Right. Now, that sets the tone a little bit. Here we go. It's about 3 years ago, almost exactly 3 years ago, that we were addressing a similar audience on the topic of agriculture finance, and I think some of you were there. It was the launch of the FRA program, the Finance for Agriculture program. And the Finance for Agriculture program was a 3-year program that was launched together with the Embassy of the Netherlands. And it had one mission, and one mission only. Do what it is possible to entice the financial sector to lend more to agriculture. We launched it 3 years ago. And indeed, some of these statistics that have been quoted here this morning, yeah, we've used them. We've used them all of our slides. Right? The disparity between agriculture as part of GDP Primary production, 27%. Follow the value chains all the way up. Go into logistics, warehousing, processing. You probably get to 70, 80%. But then always that same statistics, aggregate bank lending does not amount to more than 3 or 4%. Now that was our mission, to get that to change. That 3 or 4% was unsustainable. It was unsustainable 10 years ago. It was unsustainable 3 years ago when we launched our program. And in terms of the calculations I just made, that is completely unsustainable going forward. The FRA program is coming to an end, unfortunately. Everything has a beginning and an end. And in 2 months' time we'll be wrapping it up. And if we look back, what have we achieved? Have we made a measurable impact? Are banks taking agriculture finance seriously? Well, these are relevant questions, and these are questions that our donors shall be asking us. Just like your donors will be asking the same questions 3 years from now. Maybe less than that. And as always, the answers are not so simple. At face value, there's no press here, right? At face value, we've made very little difference. And don't print that, please, tomorrow. Despite helping some 10 banks and MFIs to get their strategy right, to help them with product development, to help them in the area of risk monitoring, credit scoring, banks still perceive agricultural finance as a very risky undertaking, and it's something to best shy away from. There's so many easier things to finance, why bother about the more difficult stuff? We have, in all honesty, not convincingly managed to help boosting loan portfolios from 3% to 6%. Right? I'm honest. The Embassy of the Netherlands is not represented here this morning, so I can speak at my mind. But we have scored some very important successes, and I would like to mention some of them here. As Financial Access, we're very, very, very proud with our collaboration with the Kenya School of Monetary Studies. We've done what was possible to help boost our groundbreaking CAF program, and the training numbers are there to show. So thank you, Professor. It's been an honor to work with you in this area. As it is an honor to continue working with you in this area, it's an honor to continue working with USDA and global communities. On the back of the FRA program, we have launched 3 commercial ventures in Kenya, and that is important because a public-private partnership should lead to something. And in our case, it has led to 3 ventures that are here to stay. The first one is Financial Access East Africa. That's us, bankers. Bankers helping bankers, and we will continue doing so. It's the consultancy arm. The second commercial venture is EBHR. EBHR is a company that specializes in financial technology for banks. And EBHR has made it its mission to make value chain finance, or call it supply chain finance, a household concept in the financial industry in Kenya. Many of you know that KCB has been our launching client, and the work that we do with KCB and Nakomat has been now replicated by other banks. This is critically important because supply chain finance holds one of the keys towards successful agricultural finance. And the third venture is the one we're perhaps proud of most of all. It's called FACTS. FACTS is a new finance company. Governor, new finance company, but not yet a Euro remit. That is almost 100% dedicated to the financing of agriculture. I see Mr. Meso smiling here, right? FACTS wants to be a catalyst of change, showing other financial institutions that agriculture can indeed be financed and can be financed within the parameters of risk and return. And I would love to work together closely with you on this. Yeah? We'll be specializing once again on value chain finance, very complementary to what you're doing. But today we have not come together here to reflect on the outcomes of FOA. Yeah? I need to do that in a slightly smaller forum at some point. We have assembled here to launch a new program that in some respects takes over from the earlier work that we've done. Global Communities is launching a very ambitious new initiative to train hundreds of bankers in the art and science of agricultural finance. This is truly excellent news, as we've all demonstrated this morning. And we must wholeheartedly applaud Global Communities for making this possible. So let us do that one more time. certainly not forgetting USDA. But more than that, we must join forces and do what it takes to make sure that these trainings actually lead to something tangible and sustainable. You have to do better, or we have to do better than we did at Finance for Agriculture. I'm very honest in that. The last thing that we need is to train bright young people, and many of them sitting here in this room this morning, and we empower them with lots of knowledge, and they will return to their daily chores, and they'll find out that their bosses are actually not interested in the uptake. We cannot have that. That will be a phenomenal waste of time and money. And it is on this topic that I respectfully ask for your full attention. The first point I want to make is, we can train until we're blue in the face, but training is sometimes not enough. In fact, I dare say, training can never be the beginning step of a new initiative. More likely, it's the final step of a new initiative. And that new initiative, that is what I want to talk about in the financial sector. The nation's leading thought institutes on agriculture finance. And most importantly, industry representatives from the food and agriculture sectors. And the objective of this idea-generating forum is to present the government of Kenya with a series of recommendations how the financial sector can boost agriculture output. I repeat that, how the financial sector can boost agriculture output, and ensure that we not only feed the generations to come, but also to put Kenya on the map as a leading food exporter to Africa. This time around, the emphasis is on the financial sector. The financial sector. Not on innovation groups, not on high-tech solution providers, not on academic policy institutes. If the outcome is 5 simple ideas that can be implemented in the next 18 to 24 months, I would be thrilled. And in your folder, one such idea is right here. So when there's time, please look at this. You may agree or you may disagree, but at least it's an idea of how we can do things differently. Right? The inspiration for my dreams of building a vibrant agricultural sector does not come from Holland, it does not come from Denmark, it does not come from France, countries I know very well, although there's a lot we can learn from them. For me, the inspiration comes from countries like India, that manages to feed 1.3 billion people. Let that sink in for a moment. It comes from Vietnam, totally ravaged by war, only barely 1 generation ago. And these countries have successfully managed to take the drama out of agriculture. That's a phrase I often use, taking the drama out of agriculture. And there's not a single reason why we cannot do the same here in Kenya. So ladies and gentlemen, let me once again thank Global Communities for making this very important training initiative possible. Also on behalf of the school, let me thank USDA and Global Communities for the confidence they've shown in us. We have a big challenge ahead in terms of training. We're looking forward to it. We're ready for it. We're very proud to be a partner. Then finally, in conclusion, I'll say it one more time, and then I'll shut up. Please reflect on the idea that training itself can never be enough. We have an enormous challenge. Food is something that concerns all of us, and there's no financial institution that can say, this is not for me. Because as soon as you go home, you want to eat in the morning, you want to eat lunch, and you want to eat dinner. It concerns all of us. So let us unite forces. Let us put our collective brains together. And let us use today as the launch of not only a training program, but of a brand new initiative, where I speak for many of my colleagues, where we will be more than happy to work with the central bank, where we will be more than happy to work with the cabinet, and generate some tangible ideas that meet challenges of tomorrow. Thank you very much.
At this point, I will request our chief guest give us a few more minutes, because most participants have requested to have a photo session with you to remember this event. So